How was Zach and Lane?
Oh, good morning. Yeah, good. Lane's still working. I'm telling you what, he's a tough guy. He really wants to play in this football game. We're going to find out more today and see where he's at the end of the day before we put out a report. But he's working to try to play in this football game. Zach, waiting on. He still not cleared for any contact. He will work a little bit on the side again, like he's done this week and stuff like that. But we're waiting on a few doctor results tomorrow, and if things go favorable, he'll play. If they don't, he won't.
How about Miles?
Miles is good. He'll get some work in today and see where he's at, but he's been feeling good. Yeah.
Doug, statistically, Carson has had a season that is a start in terms of lack of interceptions. 600 pass attempts, 7 interceptions or fewer. Only 4 quarterbacks have ever done it. As a former quarterback, what do you think of his safety with the football and decision-making as a thrower?
I think it's something as quarterbacks in this league and young quarterbacks that grow up in this league, I think that's something I can appreciate. He can appreciate. He'll get better at it. And protecting the football is obviously the key to anybody's success offensively and to the team. But that's what he's done. He's done a good job of that. Really protecting the ball and spreading the ball around and getting it out of his hand and doing the things that we've seen him have success with this season. And as a quarterback, former quarterback, to know that you got a guy that can protect the ball that way when you throw it as many times as we do, that's a positive. It allows you to keep putting the ball in the air.
When you look back at the
morning.
Thanks
for being on time.
When you look back at the first Seahawks game, the turnovers, the uncertainty at right guard.
Here we go, turnovers. See, we just talked about turnovers.
But when you look at that game, was it a good game plan offensively? Other than that, you were moving the ball.
It was. I mean, we moved the ball. We did some things. I mean, our opening drive, we were right down in the red zone, and we settled for the 3 there. We had some opportunities, and just. Yeah, there were a few penalties, and then the right side of our offensive line, as you know, we kind of had to shift some guys there, so it kind of was unsettled. But I thought the game plan was good. Our execution was good. The turnovers was not so good.
With Lane questionable heading into this game, how did you split reps with Big V between right guard and right tackle?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, V's played right tackle, obviously, and he's played well. Pryor's played right guard, and he's played well, and he's filled in for Brandon when need be. So we're trying to keep that as consistent as we can at that spot.
Doug, we don't ask you much about Jason Kelce, just I guess obviously because it seems like he's always doing a job, he's always there in the middle. But what have you seen out of him this year? And obviously there's questions about whether he would have come back, and he has. And
listen, I could spend the whole press conference here and longer really talking about Jason Kelce, what he means personally to me, and then what he means to this football team and this organization. And he's one of the guys that just kind of epitomizes what we're all about. His toughness, his mental and physical toughness. I think about the offseason. He's one of the first guys back in the building within a few weeks after your season's over, back in the weight room. That's the type of guy he is. He's hungry for the next game, for the next opportunity, and that's just the way he is. That's the way he prepares during the week. He puts his body through, the grind each and every week. He's so sharp mentally, on point with the game plan. He's just he's a center that I don't know if I've been around a center that can do the things athletically, number one, and then mentally, number two, that Kelce does. It's pretty impressive.
Doug, the Seahawks' defensive numbers, aren't great. I mean, sacks are down, red zone efficiency, things like that. But what does the tape show you?
Tape shows that this is a really good defense, and they do get after the passer. They're very disruptive. They don't have to necessarily hit the quarterback or sack him, but they can disrupt timing with throws and things of that nature. We know Clowney is a guy that can wreck a game. Obviously, he's very athletic. He's quick off the ball. Guys are big inside. We had a few issues in our first game, protecting Carson that way. And again, like I said, they can be disruptive. And that's something that shows up on tape. And then the back end is a group that, they don't do a lot in the back end. A team that they can put pressure with their front 5, 6 at times, and then just allow their secondary guys to cover. I mean, it's just it's a solid group. It's a solid group, and it's another good test for our team.
Hey, Doug, a little follow-up on Kelce there. When you are going to have a moving part at right guard, whether it's V or Matt Pryor, how much of a luxury is it to have a center like that from a mental standpoint that can help the guy next to him?
Yeah, and it's all about the initial call from the center, whatever the play is, and then that right guard, if it's Pryor, listening and hearing that call and just doing his job. But it's nice to have that luxury. I want Kelce to focus on his job, but obviously it starts with the communication with him, and then everybody else can kind of follow suit. But it is a little bit of comforting knowing that he can help out that way.
Doug, spent some time talking to some of the younger guys in the locker room yesterday, and for the most part, they talked about how the older guys, the veterans, were giving them messages about how to handle this playoff environment. What was some of that messaging, and what is your message to the young guys that are going to play on Sunday?
I really don't get into their messaging. Whatever they do in the locker room is them, so I really can't answer that part of it. From my standpoint, addressing the team, we understand that this, number one, it's a playoff game, but I think we've kind of understood that here the last month of the season, that these games have all been kind of playoff games for us. And so that's why I think we're at least mentally prepared, for this opportunity. And now the physical part just has to take over on Sunday. But everything gets magnified, from a turnover, a penalty, a completion down the field, whatever it might be, from offense or defense. Everything gets a little more magnified. The intensity, sense of urgency, the fans. There's a lot that kind of ramps up in games like this, and that's what makes it exciting.
Doug, Brandon Graham, he's sort of like the temper. You kind of take the temperature of him, right, to see how the team is. What do you say? Or how do you look at that whole routine he has, where he's checking in with everybody in pregame and giving them a hug, you and everybody? What does that tell you about the guy?
He's just a great leader. He's a great leader. In fact, he's going to be one of my captains this weekend just because of that. And it just says a lot about who he is. He's a Philadelphia Eagle first, and he's the player second. And he leads more by example and than anything else. And on top of that, he plays through injury. He plays hurt, and I'll get a lot of production out of him. And to be able to play, at a high level that he has throughout his, since I've been here anyway, last 4 seasons. He's another one that's pretty special to have on the team.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.